Does this situation sound familiar? A guy asks for a girl's number, and she gives him a fake number. Or a guy asks a girl out, and she gives an excuse or asks for a rain check, when really she has no intention of ever going out with the guy at all. Or maybe a guy and a girl are just conversing, and they're hitting it off pretty well. And they have pretty good interactions, and the guy's like, yeah, everything's going pretty well, until one day the girl murders him. Alright, that last interaction was a little extreme, but it basically represents how guys feel in a lot of situations. I know I felt that way once or twice when something has popped out of the blue, and I was like, how did I miss this? Why does this girl suddenly hate me? So, I've wondered in many situations like this, why can't girls just be direct? Why can't they just say no? Is there some force stopping them? Are they just morally bankrupt, all women? Well, let's take a deeper dive into this, because the answer may surprise you. And we'll go over a lot of reasons why a girl might not say no directly, why she might use some of these other tactics. And then we'll explore after that whether it's legitimate or not, and whether they should really just say no. So let's start with a really common one, which is probably the first one you'll think of, that they just want to be nice, right? And they don't really want to like hurt the guy's feelings, and they don't want him to be embarrassed. They want to let him down easy, so they're just like, and then they don't directly say no. This would be, all right. I'm gonna not pass judgment on these until we get to the end. So, but that's the most common reason that you might think of why a girl would not say no. But what you might not think of is the many, many more reasons. Let's take a look into this. Maybe the girl has a friend that's friends with this guy, and she doesn't want her friend to be mad. If she rejected the guy or was too harsh to him, then the friend would be like, what the heck? And so she has some interpersonal anxiety. This almost always applies to day-to-day relationships with this girl. Basically, what this gets into is the girl does not want to experience discomfort in her day-to-day relationships. She doesn't want things to be weird with the guy if she sees him on a regular basis, or she doesn't want to affect the relationship with her friend because that's really fragile, because she doesn't have healthy relationships with her friends, or other like reasons like this, that the girl's like, you know what, I don't want to mess up anything socially, I want everything to like not be uncomfortable, so I'm just going to avoid that by taking these tactics. All right, that's something else that a girl can do. But after this, we start to really open the door, okay, for some of these things. So look, I used to give girls a lot of crap, okay? I have not like directly, but like I used to complain about a lot of stuff, and I've eased up on that in recent years as I've learned more about the kind of interactions that girls sometimes experience with guys, that I had no idea ever happened before. And it opened up my eyes to like a new world of like stuff that girls go through, and it made me ease up a little bit and be like, okay, you know, I understand some of the things that girls do a little bit more now. And if you're anything like me, you had no idea these things were going on. These are real things. A lot of times, girls are afraid that it's fear, basically, of some kind of violent reaction. Not necessarily that you'll kill them, although there probably are girls that are that paranoid, and they've probably taken that to a little bit of extreme, thinking that they're gonna die. Although that has happened, it's just like not super common. But what is a lot more common is general violent reactions from guys. A lot of times, a girl will reject a guy. She'll say no to him, and he will I'm freaking Sean Connery, and he will like call her a mean word. Like, he was a super nice guy before, like very gentlemanly, and then he will just instantly become another person, and he will like call her a nasty name, or he will like go off on her and like lose his temper or something like totally weird and out of the blue like that. And a lot of girls know that happens, and so that's one reason that they don't really want to say no. They don't want to experience that, and you know, nobody would really want to experience that. And it's crazy that that happens. And I'm not trying to. Okay, so if you're a guy that's anything like me, you'll be shocked by the fact that these things happen. Okay, there was a story. There have been stories of girls that have rejected guys like in the workplace, and then this guy goes on a campaign to sexually harass them, basically, or spread like false rumors about them because they're butthurt about it, and like really like terrible things, right? So if you're anything like me, you'll be shocked by the fact that these are real things. I'm not making this up. This actually happens. And if you are not shocked at it, and you have found yourself to be on the wrong side of this, I will say this. I would recommend that you read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, or 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, or As a Man Thinketh. I can't remember who wrote that, but if you just type in As a Man Thinketh of Google, it'll pop right up for you. Or even the classic Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5-7, right? Just getting into the habit of reading like good books like this. They will improve your life, and they will definitely skyrocket the quality of your relationships. And I realize that a lot of guys that have found themselves on the wrong sides of these situations just don't care. A lot of them are morally bankrupt. It's not a guy thing, it's not a girl thing. There's just a lot of terrible people in the world, and they want to remain that way. And that's totally fine. But I realize that it's equally likely, at least in my opinion, that you might have just fallen into a bad friend group. Maybe you have friends that were morally bankrupt. They were just bad people, but you realize you wanted to have a higher standard. You wanted to be better. And you can. I want you to realize, if you're in that situation, that your mistakes do not define you, that you have control of your life, and you can start today to become a better person. You can become whoever you want to be. And if there's one thing you take away from this video, I want it to be that, okay? But these are a lot of things that happen to girls on a regular basis, and these later things kind of opened my eyes and made me be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense why they would not want to directly say no for fear of these things. So it gets tougher. There are some areas of gray that come out in this when you try to assess the legitimacy, should they say no or not. And I can't comment on any of these situations. Like, there are other, let's say she's in a vulnerable situation. Let's say, like, she's out late at night walking, and, like, some dude, like, nobody's around, and some dude asks her, like, to do something with him or to go out with him or whatever. Since she's in a vulnerable situation, she's worried that if he's going to react violently, she doesn't know how violently he's going to react, right? So in that situation, what advice would you give? Should she say no? Or like directly? Should she say no directly? Or should she maybe give him a fake number if he's asking for her number, And I don't know if I could answer that with a one-size-fits-all. I think you definitely need to discern based on the situation that you're in. So, my opinion has changed a little bit from the start of making this video, where I was like, everyone just needs to say directly no all the time. It's changed a little bit, and I do think there are shades of gray, and that you need to assess the situation and make sure you're protected. But I do want to communicate the same message, that I hope you know that you are in control of your life, no one else, all right? You are the master of your fate, right? You are the captain of your soul. I know that's not the popular message in society today. The popular message in society is you're a victim, and everything that happens in your life should be blamed on everyone else. But you gotta understand that's not true, and you have total control of everything that happens in your life. And it may not be comfortable, but let's say, there's workplaces have sexual harassment policies for a reason, and a lot of these things just don't get reported. And you should report them. If the system does not support that, if there's like corruption in that system, then maybe you need to find a different workplace. These are things that are uncomfortable, but I mean, would you rather stay in an uncomfortable environment, or would you rather get out and get into an environment and have relationships and be around people that's going to work much better for you, And again, there's no one size fits all, and every situation is different, but there is value in not operating primarily off of fear. You should be smart, but not primarily operating off of fear, but realizing you're in control of your life. I could be afraid, as a guy, I could be very afraid of girls, because believe it or not, just as many of these things happen in real life, there are also a lot of girls that unfortunately make false claims in an attempt to ruin guys' lives, and successfully ruin guys' lives in a lot of situations. And just because those girls are terrible people. And there's terrible people on both sides. Doesn't matter what gender you are, or race, or religion, or whatever. There are terrible people everywhere. And so I need to realize that, but I don't operate off fear. I'm just smart in the decisions that I make. And there are some things that I won't do, some situations that I won't put myself in, and realize that, I'm still feeling completely in control of my life all the time, because I know that there are actions that I can take that will be good, So it's a tough situation. Now, let's talk about a third reason. I wasn't gonna mention this necessarily, but technically, there is another reason that she could not directly say no to you, and that's because she's a sociopath, and she just wants to mess with you, and wants to tell her friends that you're obsessed with her, and just basically toy around with you. I don't think this is necessarily as common as the other reasons, but this definitely does happen. I can say that this has definitely happened to me. So if you recognize that, just get away from it as soon as possible. Recognize red flags. If you're a guy that is contributed to this kind of stuff, I will say this. I get the mentality of, like, maybe a girl says no at first, but you're like, well, I can get her to say yes, right? Because not like in a bad way. If that's your mentality, then don't. But just like with my personality, I can woo her to say yes. And again, there's shades of gray in that, and it just depends on the interactions that you guys have. But I will say that I get wanting to win in that sense, but you should also know what's worth pursuing and what is not worth pursuing. If you appeal to everyone, this is what my friend calls the school lunch effect. If you're appealing to absolutely everyone, the more you do that, then the lower quality the product is going to be. So think about that. If you as a person are appealing to everyone in the dating sense, then you're probably a really low quality person. And that might sound kind of harsh, but what you want is to appeal to the right people and for the wrong people to reject you. If you can get really good at that, then you can pretty much automate the process, or almost automate the process, because the wrong people will weed themselves out, and then you will get the kind of people that you want. You will attract what you have built. Does that kind of make sense? So, if a girl, in my personal situation, if I found out a girl gave me a fake number, then I would be like, ooh, that's not very classy. I probably wouldn't want to go out with a girl like that anyway. And, that also might sound harsh, but I do want a girl that is classy, and it's classy to say no. There's something very classy about, if someone asks you out, you say, thank you, but no. I really appreciate the offer, but it's going to be no. That is like the chef's kiss of rejections, in my opinion. And if someone rejected me like that, I'd be like, that's very classy. So, again, know what is worth pursuing, know what's not worth pursuing. If a girl gave me an excuse or took a rain check or I know that's a girl that can't say no, and you do not want to be in a relationship with a girl that cannot say no. That is not going to be okay with you. Imagine being married to a girl that can't say no. Think about that for 2 seconds. Is that something you want? No, absolutely not. You're gonna want a girl that is confident and feels in control and is able to say no. Imagine the horror stories of girls that can't say no to their parents. That's gonna be a rough marriage right there. So, again, what I really wanted to communicate is that there are a lot of gray areas, there are a lot of facets to these kinds of situations, and we just need to open our eyes and be aware of the factors that are playing into them, Guys contribute to it just as much as girls, and we can create a better society by realizing these things and progressing from there, and building ourselves as better people, and I've run out of stuff to say. That's all I have to say about that.